All right, everyone, back at it. We're at our 7th episode now. So grab a beer if you're of age. If not, grab your sippy cups, and we'll get into it here. So today we have Volante and two of their members, Karsten and Carter, and they're going to take us through their adventures in sim racing so far. So how they got here, how they started racing in IVRA, how Volante came together, what their goals are this year, kind of the usual, and we'll get right into it, guys. So whichever one of you guys would like to lead off, that's all right, your call. But why don't we hear a little bit about Volante first?
Carter, you're the founder. You can start.
Alrighty, sounds good. So originally, team was started in 2018, focusing solely on one singular R Factor 2 league. From there, I decided this is actually a lot of fun. I want to see what I can do with this. So branched into multiple different R Factor 2 leagues. Then saw iRacing and was like, "Yep, okay, we're gonna go here. This is a good step for us."
Nice.
So that we made our first entrance into iRacing at the start of 2020, and then we followed up by also entering Assetto Corsa Competizione now. But back in 2018, when the team was founded, we actually started under the name TCS Off Racing.
Okay.
Very interesting name, came up with it on the spot. There wasn't much meaning behind it, just sounded cool. And from there, we had a pretty unique experience being able to work for a little bit with a real German racing team called Allied Racing.
Nice.
That didn't work out entirely to plan, so we decided to rebrand and become what we are now at Volante Racing.
Nice. How'd the name come about? Did you know about the name before, or was it like just random again?
So it's interesting because originally the name, we were considering a rebrand in middle 2019, around then, trying to focus more on like a professional name. And we were talking to this one guy that we knew in sim racing, and he suggested the name Volante, and we're like, okay, that sounds really cool. At the moment, we're not able to like change everything, so we're going to keep with TCS Off for now, but keep that in our back pocket. But then that guy decided to start a team, and he called it Volante Racing.
What a guy.
And they did quite well. They had some success, but then he lost interest in it, and the team shut down probably half a year before we rebranded to Volante Racing, with permission of his, of course. Yeah.
Cool. And when you were in R Factor, what cars were you racing? Like you said, it was just kind of a singular league at first, and then it was a couple. Is it the same types of cars you're racing now in iRacing, or is it different completely?
It was actually completely different. We started off in the touring cars on R Factor in a league called Grand Prix Virtual World Championship, and we got our start there. Came second in the championship, missed out by 8 points, I believe.
Nice, close. Good for a first go.
Yeah, very good for a first go. Then we expanded into their career ladder, which simulates more of a Formula One style, for F3, F2, F1. We started in kind of the F2 equivalent, which was called the Super Cup, and that was the start of 2019. And then from there, got into endurance racing as well. So we've pretty much touched every car minus ovals and dirt.
Nice. What kind of touring cars were you driving? Like, do they have a much bigger repertoire over there compared to just the Audi here?
Yeah, there were a few options. We 2 years in a row took the Vauxhall Astra.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was competitive for the first season, not so for the second, but
Okay.
how it goes sometimes. And then you had multiple other options like a Honda, Subaru, and a few others.
That's sick. That's awesome. And so that's Carter and Karsten. How did you kind of get into it? Start with Volante.
Well, I started as a designer, so basically, yeah, I got interested in sim racing and iRacing, but iRacing was too expensive, so I started in R Factor 2, and I eventually found out I was more interested in designing. So I started designing, and then Carter picked up on that because I was sharing some stuff in the R Factor 2 Discord. And then basically I got into the team as a designer, started helping Carter a bit because basically Carter and I always have totally different opinions. So that sort of works good if you listen to each other.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So I started, I think at one point I first became a manager, and then at one point we were like, let's just make me an owner basically. And then I took on the iRacing project from the start, and then basically made that my own. Yeah, use my ideas that I had for a sim racing team and use that in iRacing, and then that's how I got into the team.
Nice. And so since 2020, beginning of 2020, you guys have been going through, I guess, just official races and different types of series with Volante. Anything that kind of stands out so far for you guys, like accomplishments or just big hurdles that you've come over, anything like that?
One that stands out. Yeah, one that stands out for me. We took home the championship in the Sim Racers World BMW Trophy. But not only that, we also were 1 and 2 in the driver's standings. Nice. So that was a big accomplishment for us, taking home our first championship on iRacing. And it kind of it sparked a lot of development and further goals that we have now been working towards. And it's actually been it's a big turning point for us, that league.
Nice. That's awesome. And so since then, what have you guys been active in? Or is it kind of like just prepping for bigger things? You know what I mean? Like,
so yeah,
getting the team together and practicing and just like focusing on bigger events.
Yeah. So basically, we try to do every special event, of course. That's the one main thing for endurance. And then last year we did Neo, and this year we are doing it again, but trying to learn from last year. Last year wasn't that kind of success. So this year we already got a second place. So we're already learning. That's
nice.
Great. And then IVRA at this point, of course, logically. And at the moment, those are the 2 leagues we are focusing on. And for the last few years, we've been participating in the SimPower Career Cup. And that's been basically the base of most of the things we've done in iRacing. So we were basically, most of the time we were driving the Porsche. And then now we've started more doing endurance, Neo, and stuff like that. And that's also the goal for the future.
Which Porsche, the Cup or something else?
The old Cup, yeah.
Yeah. How do you like the new one compared to the old one?
I actually haven't driven the new one yet because my sim, it's currently not built. Basically.
Brutal.
Yeah, I'm currently in college, so yeah, having trouble with that. Really want to try it out, but just haven't got around to it yet.
That's fair. So are you going to be able to set your rig up in your are you in a dorm?
Yeah, but I'm probably I have it here, but I'm probably going to move it back to my parents because I have more space there, so it's much easier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so probably in about 2 weeks I'll have the chance to test it out. So looking forward to that.
That's cool. I guess that's something we can touch on too quickly. Is these guys are both in university right now. Carter's studying business, both in undergrads, and Karsten is in automotive engineering, automotive design.
Yeah.
Right.
Automotive technology. Yeah.
Okay, technology. Right. So I guess potentially both in dorm rooms. Are you in a dorm as well, Carter?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and so you were able to bring yours with you?
No.
No? Oh, brutal. Okay.
More
can you keep going with it?
Currently, this is what I have.
The old DFGT. Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah.
What are your normal rigs? That looks like mine. I'm still on a G29. So it's not so bad.
Yeah.
What are you guys on for your regular rigs?
Well, for me, over kind of like the lockdown period, I decided, well, I'm going to be here for a while, so time to upgrade the rig,
Nice.
and got myself a 80/20 aluminum rig. Kind of, it's a kind of custom built one. Then I upgraded to the BJ Sim Racing pedals.
Okay, I don't know them.
200 kilogram load cell.
The whole baby. It's crazy.
Yeah, very nice. Then I have the Fanatec CSL Elite with the McLaren GT3 rim.
Nice.
And now I have none of that with me and I can't drive, but yeah.
Soon enough. What do you
Yeah.
think of the Fanatec and the McLaren? I've heard very kind of polarized views of them, especially with their customer service. How's everything been working for you so far?
So far, I knock on wood, I haven't had any issues.
Okay.
Especially like I've had a couple times that double downshift error that it has sometimes, but
So like you like shift once, but it just like it goes through two?
yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. So I've had that maybe a couple times, but most of the sims have a kind of detection and prevention against that if you go into the files. But overall, it's been pretty solid. I haven't had to go to Fanatec support, so I can't speak on that. But yeah, the product's been good for me.
Nice, awesome. Their new Bentley wheel. That's like top of my list of of rims, like dream list. So maybe one day we'll see.
You can hang it on the wall as a clock. That's like the best feature for me. That's so sick.
Is it? What is it?
You
So
can make it a clock.
Display on?
Yeah. There's like you can hang it on your wall as a clock. Actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want even more.
Yeah.
And what are you on for a rig?
I have a Playsee Challenge seat, so like one of those foldable ones, just because it was cheap, basically. And then I have like a desk with like a sort of cut in like a shape, like a how do you call it? A U shape.
Semicircle.
A U, like
semicircle, and then a triple monitor around it. I used to have VR. Didn't really like it for home use at least. So then I went to triples, and triples have been great. I actually love it when I do actually race, because currently, of course, I can't.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's funny. Like I was on triples for a while, and then like took a bit of a break, and then had a chance to pick up an Oculus Rift S for a really good price. So tried it out, and it's a ton of fun and it's super immersive. But for me, the triples, I feel like I perform better, and just it's for viewing. Like it just for some reason it's better for me. I don't know what it is. So it's interesting that you went back as well.
Yeah, it's a bit it's weird. We also used to do races together, Carter and I, and we once had like a 4-hour race, I think, where I did a 2-hour stint with VR, probably my longest stint with VR. And back then it was actually pretty okay. Like I actually loved it, but at one point it just started being more of a limit. Like I was constantly just like I want to go on the sim, but it takes a bit to set up, and I just have to sit like it wasn't that nice just getting in. And actually I also really like to see the hardware I have, that's also one thing. So it was like a mix of things where I was like, triples is more what I need.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Carter?
I'm also running triples.
Nice.
Also had VR for about a week and a half, and decided
that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, decided pretty quick that this isn't for me. I'll buy triples instead.
That's fair. Have you guys tried ultra wide?
No.
It's probably the ideal.
I'd love to have a go with that. I've talked to a few people that have it and they love it. I don't know how much it would differ with the triples, but definitely something that would be interesting to try, at least I think.
I think it's ideal because you don't like have all the setup problems. You can basically run every game in it. It's just it would be ideal. Although I don't think it's currently, because I don't drive a lot, it's currently worth the money. But it'd be ideal if I had the money. I'd probably do that. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. So with the with our season kind of like half over in a couple of the series, just kind of like reflecting on the first half and looking forward to the second half. What do you guys think so far?
So far, it's been not great. First round, we were really unlucky. Actually, we had a few crashes which weren't really down to us. And then previous rounds, we had a pretty good race. Actually, we were at least we had the feeling we could fight for the win. Then the safety car came out, and we had a few issues with one of our drivers making a mistake in a battle, just under pressure, just cracking under pressure, basically, which happens.
Yeah,
but it just shows we can actually do really well in the coming rounds because we really had the pace. And I think it's more of a positive, actually. Not that we can actually still battle for anything in the championship, but we can for sure run for like race wins and stuff.
Yeah. So is it only the one race that you had one of the big offs, or was it both? You said
the first one was mainly unlucky, but we also didn't really have the pace yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But like it could have been good, but it's in the first round in quali it already wasn't that great, and then just went on. Like if you have one issue, it often turns into the next one, and then that's sort of what happened in that race.
Right.
Although we did have the potential, maybe not for the win, but for a good result for sure.
Yeah, that's all right. And the good thing with endurance races is like a lot of the time it can come around and you can still have a reasonable result. Obviously that's dependent on how the other cars perform, but at least I've found that with the safety cars, it changes how much that can affect on the overall standings. And you guys are a team that are both in the 24-hour series and IVRA. So how do you find the differences like between, going in and it's just, get your good setup, go fast continuously versus, go fast, but also this all might stop soon. And then you've got to regroup and start over with the safety car. Like how do they
the safety car is awesome. Like it's always been a thing for me where the sim it needs to be a bit more unexpected than like just being not hot lapping, but being only strategy. So it just a safety car just brings in that other level of realism in that sense. Actually, I've been like thinking of an idea where it's like, why not have like a real like guy on the sim drive the safety car? Like
we've thought about that, but the biggest problem with that is it introduces like the factor and the ability for cars to get damaged.
Yeah.
Which like as great as it would be, it's like it's hard to add because then it's just, all of a sudden this car is like just written off from some new thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be cool though. It could be cool for sure.
But maybe iRacing can add it. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can drive the safety car.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and we could you could definitely do it just like have, somebody from RC or something hop into some random car and do it. It wouldn't be the safety car.
That's the same, of course.
Yeah. What do you think, Carter?
I mean, strictly like results speaking, we've done better when there's been no safety car. But I like the safety car. It's a unique idea. It definitely helps like mimic the real world a lot more, like the uncertainty. But it would be nice if they did that when we're in like a bad position or like right before our pit stop. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting use of kind of like the combination of real and sim, and it'd be cool to have what Karsten says, have a real driver driving that safety car, but adds human error.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Have you guys come into, I guess, any situations yet where it's like completely caught you out and you're kind of like in an oh shit moment where it's like, okay, like we actually haven't planned for this yet, you know what I mean? And you're scrambling to kind of like get it together and figure out, how many stints are left and all that kind of stuff? Or are you guys like pretty on point with strategy and like, even if one has come out so far, you're like, okay, we just like, we're on, strategy B now or something like that?
I think you go.
Yeah.
Carter. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, with the drivers we have, they've been very good at preparing and being ready for pretty much almost anything.
Mhm.
Obviously, last race safety car did hurt us, but it didn't like completely send us backwards. We were ready, we were prepared, and yeah, it was a bit of a like spanner in the works, but overall it worked out about as expected.
Okay, nice. And so, anything else kind of like on the radar for you guys? You're in, I think you're in club sport right now. Are you also in endurance?
No.
Just club sport?
Yeah, just club sports. And
Okay.
we wanted to enter endurance, but at that point we just didn't have the drivers active. We were
Say that
interested.
again,
though.
sorry?
We didn't have the enough active drivers at that point.
Ah,
But we would have loved to enter. It's on the list for future.
More that we didn't have the drivers that were available schedule wise.
yeah. It can be tough sometimes. Like, there's so many events going on in general and series going on in general. Like, plus, all your personal lives, especially if you're in school. Like, that's super, super tough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely difficult to get the manpower sometimes. Are you guys going to do any of the iRacing special events coming up, or are you sticking to kind of just like general series and stuff like that?
You
go.
go. Yeah, okay, I'll go. We are participating in the Suzuka 10 hour. So that's
this
fun.
weekend, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's great.
How are you driving?
And Carter, we should actually drive.
Yeah, I mean, the plan for us is not to drive, especially not in the Volante livery, because, well, if we're doing that, something's gone really wrong.
True.
But yeah, we won't be personally driving that, but we should have one or two cars going this weekend.
Nice. And do you guys kind of stick strictly to Porsche? Like, are you going to do the 911 there, or do you jump around once you get to GT3s and other cars?
Yeah, we basically do whatever suits the drivers the most, and most of the time that's or GT3 or Porsche Cup. And for the Suzuka 10 hour, from what I understood, it was GT3.
Yeah. Nice. That should be a good one. It'll be Suzuka's. I've always found Suzuka difficult. Like, it's a great track, great Grand Prix track, but I think probably for everybody, maybe not. I mean, maybe it's just me, but there's always like some tracks where you're just like, I just haven't like figured this out yet. You know what I mean? Where like you feel like you can get a bit more time, but there's just like you're just missing something, and it's just not all coming together. You know what I mean? Suzuka's always been a track like that for me. I don't know. Do you guys have tracks like that?
For me, actually, Suzuka is pretty much the opposite. It's one of the only tracks I actually get the flow right. And maybe one other track is Interlagos. That's like probably both of them are my favorites. Suzuka is a bit more like I've had good results there, so it's maybe a bit more it means a bit more to me in sim racing at least. I've had really bad tracks. Like there have been some tracks, like some really weird named tracks in R Factory, like you have these mods that I just couldn't get the flow of. Like,
really?
Not at all.
Do you remember them at all? Do you remember the names, or just like
no? They're like like Russian names and stuff, which I don't remember.
Okay, just random tracks then. Okay,
yeah, just all random tracks. But other than that, I've had really bad tracks. It often takes me a lot of time to get used to a track. So for Suzuka, that wasn't the case. For Interlagos, that wasn't the case. But basically, any other track, I really have to put a lot of time into get the flow. Because that's the main thing. Getting a flow in the track is where you get the speed. And
100%.
Yeah.
What about you, Carter?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if there was one track that I'd say Karsten's probably not great at, it's Monza.
Go on.
Okay. Yeah, I had to bring it up.
Okay, tell the story now then.
Yeah, let's hear
it. Monza 2019, we were both doing the GPVWC Academy race. Okay. So in the Formula 3 style cars. And Karsten somehow managed to spin it on the formation lap.
The worst.
Yeah. meanwhile, I was sitting up in P7. Yeah, I think Karsten was P21 and spinning in the gravel on the formation lap. So
Yeah.
I'd say
Not
that's
as
probably one of
great
his
as
worst
Owen.
tracks.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But for me personally, tracks that I just don't gel with are, I mean, kind of Suzuka, mainly because the pace is there, but I never seem to be able to do a race without having some sort of issue. I did one official BMW 12 Series race back when it was the GT3. It's like a while ago. And I ended up kind of tapping net code tapping some of a guy's rear in the S section and sending him into the wall. I was fine, so I mean, seems okay. No, but it was full net code and that sucked. But then there was a league race I did where there was a car stopped who had spun in the middle of the track, and I was leading the race by a decent margin. But then I took to the grass to avoid just as he put it in first gear and started to drive into the grass.
Oh.
And yeah, that ended up with me crashing and then crashing again while trying to get back to the pits because of the damage at 130R. And then, yeah, just didn't go very well. But I did end up winning that race anyways. But yeah,
Won it, but
fast
still
repair
like
was-
not your preferred.
fast repair. No, but definitely my preferred track, favorite one ever, Hockenheimring. Love it.
You've
Yeah.
been insanely fast on Summit Point, though. Like in the Porsche Cup on Summit Point, you were like really fast.
Yeah, Porsche Cup Summit Point, I was pretty quick.
Have there been any? So Hockenheim is one for me, but also Hungaroring. Both of them, even Red Bull Ring. Like, you play them in like F1 whatever. You know what I mean? The game.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, okay, like whatever. Like, kind of feel this track, but then you get into it on the sim, and it's so different. And for me, Hungaroring for sure was one of those. Like, I love Hungaroring. And in other games that you play, just didn't like it at all. And even watching, F1 races or GT3 races, you don't really understand just how difficult it is or what the flow is like. But the flow at Hungaroring is great, I think, at least. And Hockenheim's the thing. Like, it's just some of the turns, you're like, especially turn one, you're like, oh god, you're just hanging on for dear life the whole time, basically. So those were both great. And the Red Bull Ring, it is so difficult compared to what I thought it was or what it was going to be. You watch it again on F1 or other things, and you're like, this looks challenging, but I don't know if it's like a great racing circuit. Like, it's kind of like you don't really know what to think of it. And yeah, the first time it's hard. It is a very good Grand Prix circuit. I would have loved to race in the endurance race that we had there. That would have been crazy. And I don't know if you guys watched it, but one of the best battles I've seen in any IVRA race or any race I've seen in sim racing was there was a 3-way battle with 3 LMP2s. I think it was Geodesic. Shoot, who are the other two? These guys are gonna kill me now for forgetting this. It'll come back to me in a second. They were battling for practically like the second half of their first stints, side by side, like through the entire circuit, through traffic. It was insane. Definitely recommend going to check it out if you guys haven't seen it.
I'll check it out.
Was there any for you guys like that where you kind of like it comes onto the service and you're like, wow, this isn't what I expected. Like, it's worse or it's better than what you thought? Not really.
Maybe Malaysia. It's like not on iRacing, of course, but in other sims, I actually really love that track.
Yeah. Nice.
It's like mainly for like faster cars, so high downforce, of course, because it's really wide. So we actually, I think we did our first endurance race there with the team. So it's actually,
I hate that track.
Nice.
I still hate that track, but Yeah, I'm just trying to see what tracks.
Piece it together. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely one for me that kind of just didn't click very well to start with was Sebring.
Mm.
It just I played it. I'd driven it on R Factor 2, did hot lapping competitions on it, was very confident with it, and then I got onto iRacing, got in the car, and it's like, yeah, this isn't the same.
Oh, brutal.
Actually,
Yeah.
I've had
Did you
it
try
to
it
Spa.
first at night or during the day?
I think I think it was during the day when I tried it first.
Nice.
So
I think I did it first at night, and it's probably one of the first things I did at night when I first got onto iRacing, and it blew me away. I was like, I don't know where I'm going here, and it was so
yeah.
difficult. It was crazy, but yeah, super cool. It's cool that we can do like the full transitions now too. And I guess you guys have experience with rain in R Factor. I think they have rain, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. You guys looking forward to that for iRacing?
for sure. Although it really depends how it's implemented, because in R Factor 2 it's still a bit, it's just a bit more slippery. It doesn't really, yeah, it
Right.
just adds the strategy of rain tires.
Mhm.
But other than that, there's not really like the outside line, like the inside line isn't more rubbered in that sense.
Right.
So I really hope iRacing does a good job. Like looking at what they did for like dirt and rallycross and stuff like that, they should be able to do it. If there's one dev team that can do it, it's probably the iRacing team.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. But in R Factor 2, it's more of a most people hate it more than it's actually an added bonus in that sense. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm definitely excited for it just because it'll give the like I'm not so excited for it during like official races because
It's gonna be
those can
mayhem
get
at first.
chaotic. Yeah, they can get chaotic with the dry, so I don't really want to see the wet. But definitely with like the pros and like the top leagues, I'm excited to see the racing that it generates.
Mhm.
Because I know if I'm driving and starts raining, I don't want to be around anyone else on
Yeah.
track. But yeah,
It could be
in the
scary.
top leagues, it'll be very, very good.
Yep. Have you guys driven anything like go-karts or anything else real life rain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rentals though. Fast rentals, so like outdoor. But it was
Yeah.
still on slicks, so you sort of get the idea.
Yeah, same. It's great. I love it. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Although
Yeah.
at least that session, like I really I was with my classmates and I told them like I know how to go around the track, and then it rained and I had never driven in the rain. But I was overtaking everyone. I was like, I probably have the fastest time. Like I'm overtaking everyone. But basically there
Nice.
were like every lap there I basically had like an incident or something like that where I just missed my line, and then I was like one of the slowest looking at fastest lap time, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Hi, you have a helmet, you have a suit. What are you doing here?" You know, like
That's funny.
yeah,
We me and my brother raced in a league at Goodwood, which is a big track kind of outside of Toronto, maybe like 30, 40 minutes in Stouffville. And it's actually like, it's really nice. I remember hearing that it's a legit FIA certified track. And Rotax and a lot of other stuff races there. Don't know if that's completely true, but check it out later, the FIA thing. And so one of the series with it, one of the races that we raced in, it's called the Canadian Rookie Championship. If anybody wants to look that up, and look up the track too, it's really cool. So as qualifying started, it just started to pour, and so was able to get out and again slicks and qualify P2, and then realized as soon as the race started, once we were like lined up and parade lap got going on the start finish, that my cart was actually broken and like couldn't, like, everybody just left. So just got left behind. So the pace was there in the rain at least. So I'm hoping that once it comes on to iRacing, the same thing will kind of like be there, and we'll, get the performance out of the wet and slippery conditions and make my way up the standings. We'll see, but I'm definitely looking forward to it too. It should be pretty
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
I actually had another session. That was actually where I was actually fast. That's one of the good things. Like I had a session like a few months ago with a friend. I'll leave his name out there. He won Formula 3 Asia last year.
No way.
So he's like a true pro driver. And
Super cool.
and I was like, the first heat, I was like, this car is doing some weird stuff because it was just going straight. Anything I did. So apparently I had a flat. I didn't know that till after like the second heat. And in the second one, I was suddenly like 0.02 off his time in the rain, like full wet. And he was actually really surprised. So maybe I'm actually fast in the rain. I hope in iRacing that's the case.
Yeah. I think there's some people that for sure just understand they can feel the car better in those conditions, and they know how to manage it and control it versus the kind of just what it would be on dry conditions, kind of just go fast, put your pedal down type thing, So I think for me, that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is everybody talks about iRating always, which is fair. And, are we going to see this kind of like weird shift in iRatings like everywhere? Because all of a sudden you have this like crazy new dynamic that requires a lot more control of the car. And will that start to change a lot of things? You know what I mean?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it really shows because like we've had a few real life drivers in our team, also because we're working together with Allied Racing. And so we've had a few discussions about these topics. And basically the main thing is that if you are in the sim, if you are able to adapt quickly, so also, for example, terrain, but also different cars, different tracks, you would probably have a chance to do pretty well in like real life as well. If you have like need to do a lot of laps, you probably have a bit more issues in real life.
Right.
But maybe like it sort of makes the iRating a bit more, it actually shows how good a driver can adapt to stuff. That'd be great.
Right. It's cool. Looking forward to it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else exciting on your guys' calendar for this year?
I'd have to actually take a look at the calendar, but I know we have some exciting events coming up. We've got then obviously whole new year starting, new kind of like a fresh kind of start, kind of work towards all the goals and all that good stuff for the team.
The main thing is we like a month ago we added a new manager, Vince Peters. He's also driving the IVRA for us.
Yep.
And what he's currently has been doing has been great. So we're just looking forward to any event, to be honest. So Neo might be the main thing at the moment because Neo is just if we win a race there, we just prove our point basically.
Yeah.
And that'd be great. And IVRA is just proving that the first few races weren't where we actually are at the moment.
Right.
And that's also good because then like you have something to prove and you can work towards that. So it's just basically pretty standard, but pretty just looking forward to the normal events basically. Yeah.
Nice. And you guys, when you're done school, like you're going to be able to get some good sim time in over the break? Do you have a break?
Maybe I might actually start designing again. I sort of stopped designing about half a year ago because I wanted to put more time into the team.
Yeah, like livery designing.
Yeah, livery designing. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I might start doing that more because like it needs a lot of practice designing to actually be able to make anything.
Yeah, 100%. I did so I've done like the IVRA liveries that we have that like you see on if there's any of our promo shots on Instagram or like wherever, or if there's a team that forgets their livery and we throw it onto the grid.
Yeah.
The ones that I did at first, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, compared to what they are now, are so ridiculously different. and it's the same as anything else, right? It's just the amount of practice you put in. Like you learn new things, you look at things differently. So yeah, definitely know where you're coming from on that one, man.
Yeah. And then for me, I guess I'll have some time to hop back in the sim over the break. Gonna have, I think it's about 2 weeks, but most of my time is still gonna be spent off the racetrack and kind of bringing the team continuously forward.
Nice. Do you guys have any other hobbies that you're really into, or sports or anything like that you're into?
Well,
like if you're not on the sim?
I do a lot of sports. I actually think basically almost everything is fun to me. So that's mainly my issue as well. I did freshman year rowing last year, so that was really fun. And I do a lot of cycling currently, and then surfing as much as I can. Like where I basically I now live in near my college, but where I used to live is like right near the sea, so
Nice.
you can surf a lot there. So that's nice. I love that actually. Surfing is probably my favorite. Of course,
Surfing's
karting is
amazing,
above
man.
it. Yeah,
It's definitely for me, and like I've like probably played mostly every sport, and surfing is like it's the most difficult one to pick up, hands down, of everything.
Yeah.
Just like, you look at snowboarding or skateboarding, you're like, hey, it's kind of like that, but on the water, it's not. It's like
Not at all.
it's so different.
Far from
like,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had the first time I did surfing was in Spain, so those waves are a bit better than in land. It's like a bit easier in that sense, and like I just had like a really hard time reading the waves. That's like a big thing in surfing, of course. And there was one guy who I met, and he was like, "I'll show you which wave you have to hit." And he showed me, and like that was the best wave. I had never had like where you could go on the side, like where you just make like sort of corners in that sense. And that wave, it actually worked, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to do this as much as I can.
That's sick. Yeah.
And since it has never happened,
Yeah.
like I still don't know how to read the waves. That's the problem. I need to learn it.
It's so hard, man. Like,
yeah,
I think it's cool too because it's one of like the most calming and relaxing things I've ever done, while at the same time just like taking absolutely everything out of you.
Yeah.
Because when you get out there and you're just kind of like you're sitting on your board, feet dangling, and just like looking out at the ocean, like looking at the waves comes in, it's like meditating basically,
Yeah, it's awesome. I
And then
have exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you turn and you try to catch these things, and it's like a truck all of a sudden like just punching you in the back if like you don't get it. You know what I mean? Like even if you do, all like you feel it coming, and slowly like you start to pick up speed, and then it's just like bam, and you've got to get up and you've got to go, or you just get tossed. It's nuts. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. What about you, Carter?
For me, I spent, being Canadian, kind of hockey was my go-to.
Oh yeah, bud.
Many years. Yeah. Played a lot of years of hockey. Quite competitive at some points. Some points I just decided, you know what, need a little bit of a break. But I've now signed up for a kind of university league that I'm just going to be playing for fun.
Like intramurals?
Sort of, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's sweet, man.
And then, but obviously I also enjoy pretty much every motorsport possible.
Nice.
I've done go-karting in real life. I didn't do that this summer. Don't know why. Just kind of got too busy. But definitely one of my favorite things to do. And then also I've ridden a motorbike on the track, and it's also a lot of fun.
Oh, that's unreal. It's so great.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically basic Canadian hockey is the main.
Nice. Yeah. What position you play?
I played everything except goaltender.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just started playing 2 years ago for the first time. I wanted to play it growing up, like pretty much all my life, and then like one of my best friends, his bachelor party, we played, and they're like one of the guys that came out always plays goalie. He's like, I don't want to do this right now. Like I'm always in net, you know what I mean? So I was like, sure, like I'll go in, whatever. And like it just clicked, and they're like, you could get into a league now, no problem. I was like, all right. So just like bought some gear and started as goalie is my first thing, and like absolutely love it, man. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like hockey's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, man. Well, anything else? It's been a good one, guys. I think we're kind of like approaching the end here. Do you guys have anybody that you kind of want to shout out or sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah. First of all, we want to thank our main sponsor, Aztec Sim Sports. If you haven't checked them out, they are a company who's just started building sim racing hardware. They're Invicta pedals to the public, so please check them out. They've like, if you don't know Aztec, they used to make a water cooling. Basically, they're one of the biggest water cooling companies in the world, and now they're starting building sim racing hardware. So please check them out. And
what
then
was the name again? Sorry.
Aztec Sim Sports.
Okay.
You can see them on our card. So
okay.
look at our social media, you'll find them.
Nice.
Yeah, you can also find them on our website and social media. So you can also
you guys
go
have a
check
website.
out.
All right, nice. Let's check it
Oh,
out.
Yeah, we have a
What
website,
Volante?
teamvolante.com.
What is it?
Teamvolante.com.
Teamvolante.com. All right, done.
Yeah. And other than that, we want to thank, first of all, we want to thank our managers and our members, because we are basically a team that's not funded on anything. So we started from nothing and we built it to this. So basically everyone that's been behind us has been there for basically nothing. So we want to thank them. Other than that, am I forgetting anything, Carter?
I mean, basically just anyone who's kind of showed us any sort of support in any stream chats or given us a follow on social media. It all helps to kind of make it feel that all more special. And yeah, just want to echo once again, like a big thank you to all the members that we've had, both past and present, and the managers who do just a great job and make definitely my life a lot easier. So yeah, and then Aztec Sim Sports, definitely, as Karsten said, check them out. If you need a pedal upgrade, there's probably no better place you'll find some great pedals.
Nice. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check them out too. All right,
And
awesome,
one
guys.
last,
Well,
I want to thank you, Julian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun here, and it's been fun getting to know all the teams kind of like throughout the season as we go along here. Glad to hear you guys are enjoying the series so far. A bit challenging, but it'll come around. Keep it up. And yeah, thanks for joining today, guys. So that's Kasrsten and Carter from Volante.
Yeah.
So watch out for them in club sport. And yeah, we'll catch up with you guys next week again. I can't remember who we have on, but another round coming up next week, and we'll see you guys then. Have a good night, guys.
See ya.